Hi guys, it's September 28th and I'm going to do a quick tutorial on how to do 1-point, 2-point, and 3-point perspective. Okay, so jot some notes down while I'm doing it and do it with me. If you need to stop the recording, go ahead and just push pause and then continue when you're ready at your own convenience. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and move myself out of the way. Okay, so we're going to start off with 1-point perspective. Make sure that you write that down so you don't get confused later. Okay, so 1-point perspective, you're going to start off with a horizon line, right? So then I'm going to go ahead and put my vanishing point right in the center. So we're going to work above and below the horizon. Okay, so first we'll work below it. So I'm going to come off to the left a little bit and I'm going to create a square. Okay, so create a square first. Now you want to connect all three closest points to the vanishing point. Okay, so my three closest points are this one, and that one. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm using a pen so you're able to see it better through the recording. You are able to use a pencil. A pencil would be better in this case. Okay, so I'm matching them up all to the vanishing point, just like that. Now you need to think of a square, or I'm sorry, a cube in your mind, right? A cube has all of the same sides. So all sides are parallel to each other, right? So here we have this line going straight up and down. I have to put my other line, my other face of the cube, I have to make it parallel as well. So here, this one's going straight up and down. I'm going to make this one over here straight up and down, just like that. You can make it here, you can make it closer, you can make it way over here. It just depends on what size of cube that you want, or it can be a rectangular prism. It's up to you. I'm making cubes. Okay, and that's it. There is your 1-point perspective cube. So hopefully you have a marker or a crayon, color pencil, something around you to outline it darker. So later on, you'll know that, hey, there's my cube. Okay, that's it. Now, I don't want you to erase your lines. Although these are guidelines, I don't want you to erase them because you might get lost later. Okay, I want you to have them there so you're able to see what you did. Okay, so on this side, I'm going to make a rectangle, just slightly longer on one side to make it a rectangle. Now, you have to put it off to the right of the vanishing point. If you make it directly on top, it's okay. It'll still be 1-point perspective, but it'll look different than mine. You're only going to see two sides of it then. See, this one we can see 1, 2, and 3. If you put it directly on top, you'll just see two sides, okay? So the same thing, the three closest sides, you're going to have to make it come to the vanishing point. Now, if this building or cube, or rectangle was made out of glass, then I would do this one over here, but it's not, okay? So I'm not thinking of it as a glass cube. Okay, so my other face, remember, is over here and over here. I need to have this one going straight up and down just like this one. So I can make it further down here, over here, it doesn't matter. I'm going to put my side just right there. Remember, if this one's going straight up and down, so does this one have to be, okay? Let me zoom that in a little bit. Now we're going to put this one as well. It needs to be going straight across just like this one. Make my other line going straight across. Okay, now there it is. There is your 1-point perspective cube, a rectangular prism. Please outline your building so you're able to see it later, able to see it better. I don't know why my phone keeps going off. Okay. All right, so remember that is 1-point perspective. Okay, let's move down a little bit on my sheet. We're going to do 2-point perspective now. So I'm going to leave a little bit of room at the top and the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and make my horizon line right there. Write down 2 point for 2 point perspective so you don't forget. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and make my 2 vanishing points since it's 2 point, right? That's the way you got to think of it. Okay, so I'm going to start at the bottom first. I'm going to go ahead and do down here. So now it gets a little bit more difficult. So we're going to go ahead and outline the lines that we're going to name the number of the lines that we're making, excuse me. However, let's think of this first. You do not want to come out of these guidelines. If you go outside of those lines, it's going to be incorrect. Okay, so stay within those lines. Now I'm going to make my first line right here, right in the middle. It doesn't have to be in the middle, but that's just where we're going to put it, just to get started. Okay, so that is our side of our building. Now, I always start with the left side ceiling first, the roof. So you're going to start with the left side first. You're going to go to the vanishing point just like that. Okay, that is line 2. What you do to one side, you've always got to do to the other. So that's the right side of our building. Now we're going to have to do the floor and the other side. What you do to one side, you've always got to do to the other, right? So we did the left side. Now this is the right side of the building. That is line 4 and 5. Now we need to do the walls, okay? So like I said before, since this line's going straight up and down, we have to make all the vertical lines go straight up and down, all the sides of the building. Okay, so that one's gonna stay straight up and down vertical. We're gonna move this over a little bit. Now, it's just like the first point, 1 point perspective. We can make the side of the building wherever we want. It just has to be within this line, right? So same thing here. I can put it anywhere inside of here. The further down you go, the bigger it's gonna be, okay? So we're just gonna keep it in here. Right there, that is line 6. Then you pick one over here, wherever you wanna be. That will be line 7. Okay. Now the top gets a little bit tricky. It's a little bit different. The left side stayed with the left vanishing point. The right side stayed with the right vanishing point, right? Now we're working on the roof, so the ceiling. So you're gonna have to crisscross now. So the top of 6 is gonna go to the right vanishing point. The top of 7 is gonna go to the left vanishing point. So you gotta do a little bit of crisscross applesauce. That's how we remember it. There you go. See, that was line 8 and 9. All right, easier than you thought, huh? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and outline my building. Now, if you wanted to get into it more, that would be great. All we would have to do was start drawing like a real build. If you want to do a real like skyline or a real cityscape or something going on, you can start drawing your streets. You can draw more buildings behind here. You can draw different things like that. I'm gonna go ahead and scoot this down. Now we're gonna work above the horizon line. It's kind of the same. I'll show you a little trick in a minute, but let's just go ahead and work on top of it. Okay, now I'm going to scoot my first line over to the right a little bit, just so you know that it doesn't necessarily have to be, you know, exactly in the center. I want you to know that you can do it anywhere within there. Okay, so that is line 1. We're going to work with the ceiling again. Left ceiling first. Left side, left top side. Okay, what you do to one side, you have to do the other. Over there, so that is line 2 and 3. Okay, now let's do the floor. Remember, it just hits the bottom of line 1, right there and right there. You know, let me go ahead and highlight that horizon line so it doesn't get a little confusing with all these lines coming in. Okay. Okay, so that's line 4 and 5. Now we're going to go ahead and do our sides of the building like we did over here. Like I said, you can choose anywhere in here and anywhere in here. So I'm going to make this one a little bit different. However, we have to remember that this one is going straight up and down, right? So let's get this one to go straight up and down. And let's make one over here a little bit closer. See how it looks way different? I just moved the lines a little bit. I moved this one further down. I moved this one further in. Okay, same thing. Now you're doing the same thing that you did before. Okay, you're going to crisscross the ones that you can see. So now you can see the bottom. You're not seeing the ceiling anymore, right? So you're going to do the top. Oops, let's go ahead and number those, 6 and 7. Instead of matching up the top of 6 like in the bottom one, you're going to do the bottom of 6 to the right one. The bottom of 7 to the left one. Okay, and there you go. So you had a crisscross applesauce 8 and 9. Okay, so let's go ahead and highlight that so you can see it a little better. So when you come back later, you're like, oh, that's how I did it. So make sure that you're numbering your lines. When I'm grading your notes, I'm going to look to make sure that you're numbering them so you'll know how to work them later. Okay, so say this wasn't here, right? And you had to make one on top, and you can do the bottom, but you're confused with the top one, how to do the top. All you got to do is flip over your paper, and then you're like, oh, there it is. I can do the bottom. Do it from the bottom way. You know what I mean? It's up to you, whichever way is easier for you. If you can do both ways, fine, and not have a problem, great. That's even better. Okay, I'm going to go to the next page. Now we're going to do the last one, 3-point perspective. This is where it gets a little bit even more tricky, but we can do it, right? We can get this. Okay, 3-point perspective. Now, we're going to do our horizon line. We are only going to work with the bottom right now. If you want to work on the top, that's completely okay, but all you got to do is flip over your paper and that's the same way. You'll be doing it on the bottom. Okay, guys, let's start. Now, this is the guidelines. Let's stay within the guidelines. Do not come out of here because it will be incorrect, right? Okay, so let me zoom that in a tiny bit. Okay, so we have 3 points here. Now, every single line that you make in 3-point perspective is going to go to a certain area, to a certain vanishing point. Before, you just, like 2-point perspective, your vertical line stayed vertical, right? Not this one. So let's go ahead and start off with our line. Now remember, I'm making it straight up and down, but it does not have to be straight up and down. Okay, let's go move on to the left side. You know, match it up to the left side over there. 2-point, I'm sorry, to the left vanishing point. What you do to one side, you always got to do to the other. So that was line 1, 2, and 3. Now, I know I went a little bit far on this, but never connect your building to that vanishing point. Okay, let's just go ahead and stop it there. That is line 4. What you do to one side, you've always got to do to the other. Line 5. Okay, now this line, I know it's going vertical, however, it's meeting up to this vanishing point, right? So the other 2 lines that we make have to be hitting the vanishing points. So for instance, this one, I'm just going to put it right here. It's going to meet the top of line 2 and come all the way down to the vanishing point. That is line 6. Okay, now this one is going to meet over here, and you're literally putting whatever size building you want. So it could be